Welcome back, soul travelers, to the Sacred Travel Podcast. I am stoked to have my dear, dear friend and sister Yana with me today, and we are going to be speaking about the Magdalene and the Dragon Nodes, activating the Sophia consciousness timeline. And Yana has graciously agreed to interview me because we have been recently on this personal Sister Magdalene pilgrimage in France. So she's been part of the journey. And we are just going to, play this as a casual conversation. But I want to introduce you a little bit to Yana as well. So she is an eternal student and a lover of Gaia, along with being a tantric hatha yoga and meditation teacher and a restorative yoga teacher. She describes herself as a maiden, a wild woman, an energetic mother, and a queen. She sees herself as part of the all and the all as one. And choosing to be born in Lebanon during wartime in this lifetime ignited her desire to be trauma informed. Yana has dedicated a significant portion of her journey to self inquiry, self healing, and serving as a vessel for healing. She focuses on healing the divine feminine within each individual and promoting reconciliation with the divine masculine. After spending 18 years in the corporate world as an executive leader and banker, she made the decision to fully commit herself to her company that's called Premayana. The space is created for remembering love, encouraging individuals to rediscover self love, embrace Venus wisdom, live authentically in the world, and share her expertise in bridging different realms. And Premayana embodies remembering love through continuous self inquiry, healing, and gracefully navigating life while striving to be a catalyst for change. Embark on a journey of rediscovering love or prema with Yana through personalized space holding sessions or by participating in her upcoming programs and retreats. And there is a little disclaimer. She has a beautiful retreat coming up in Sicily in September. So check that out, please, please, please. And welcome, Yana. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. That was unexpected.
Well,
It is a joy to come back here on the Sacred Travel Podcast and also to, of course, to walk the way of love with you, Julia, especially after the little pilgrimage that we recently done together.
yeah. Well, I'm excited for our conversation. Let's see what comes up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know what called you on this personal pilgrimage, Magdalene pilgrimage, but would you share um, more with us how it started, the call, and yeah, how it was initiated for you?
Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to go too far back, but I will just say that having walked, I mean, the path of the priestess and also the rose priestess for quite a while alongside with you, there is certain, I want to say we are being called to visit certain places where I feel very much that the consciousness of especially Mary Magdalene, but also her ministry and just like the teachings that she stood for is present. And so we can be in communion with her all the time, but when we expose ourselves to these places, and there is so many in the south of France that you've also just spent a considerable amount of time there, where we can really tap deeper into how this becomes an embodied wisdom within ourselves. And the two of us, we've had this calling for to visit Chartres, which is one of the very big cathedrals in France for quite a while, actually, and it never really happened, right? So that we could go. And to me, and for everybody, if you feel, and there's this beautiful depiction behind me, which is the labyrinth. So it's a cathedral that was built at the height of, let's say, like religion being on the forefront in Europe. And at the same time, it is encoded with so much of what I want to call Sophianic wisdom. And the labyrinth on the floor being just one of these beautiful initiation activations in a way. And so, yeah, it was just the universe conspiring in a way, and synchronistically lining up for the two of us to be able to meet. And I think Chartre was really in kind of like the center point, apart from, of course, like us meeting anyways, and spending time together. And then that was like the center point, and from there it lined up in terms of where we would meet and what were the sites that we would travel.
Yeah, it's interesting as you were talking, and I'm seeing, the pieces of the labyrinth behind you. I could feel like how it is. Chartres is the centerpiece, and from there we're moving from one node to the other, to the other, to the other, and different pilgrimages wherever we are in our lives. Thank you for sharing that, and connecting also, yeah, as you said, south of France with Chartres and the different places of the Magdalene. And I have here behind me, for those who are on YouTube, the Mary Magdalene Chapel in Rennes le Château. So it's just such a pleasure to be able to connect these places together beyond time and space. And I know that as we were traveling from, well, center, as we met in Switzerland and drove all the way up to Chartres together, there was a story that unfolded as we were traveling together along the chosen sites. Can you share more about it?
Hey everybody, if you are enjoying the show, then you would do me the biggest favor in clicking the subscribe button and engaging with my content so I can continue to deliver these beautiful conversations to you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'd love to, because this was mainly also the piece why I wanted to speak about this whole travel. I mean, apart from, yeah, that it's a lot of fun, like traveling these sites with a sister, but I feel that, I guess everybody is we are mid into this year now. That is the year of the wood dragon, and I've spoken about that on many occasions already. I feel I have never really seen and felt the dragons and the dragon consciousness come so much alive than this year. Like they're literally everywhere. And at the same time, having these, yeah, Mary Magdalene being like one of my main guides, and I know that she is for many, many. And the call to step more and more into that embodiment of the consciousness that she left 2000 years ago with Yeshua and everybody who was involved. And so, yeah, we went, the first stop basically that we visited, thanks to your guidance also, was Vezelay, which is another beautiful, it's a very charming, small medieval town with a Mary Magdalene chapel, although it's not even a chapel. I feel it's quite a cathedral in itself in a way. And it's one of the less prominent places, I guess. So people do not mainly know about it when speaking about Mary Magdalene. But I have come to see and to find in my explorations that these churches or these places are never alone. And so also, same as Chartres is part of a bigger orchestration or tapestry of a constellation and a bigger path of pilgrimage or path of initiation, depending on what you want to call it, because it's always both. And it's okay, my mind is doing so many knots right now. It's like, where do we go? Um, so I have come to see, and a lot of that for me happens in the dream time. I have come to see that these points are never alone. And when we visited Vezelay, and like right when you stand in front of it, and there is this kind of like asymmetry or dissymmetry because there is only one tower, and I was like, okay, well, something is off, something is missing in a way. And then when we went into the crypt, there was this beautiful crypt with Mary Magdalene and Yeshua on the cross. I felt that there was, we were sitting and meditating, and I felt that there was this cross that was unfolding in the entire landscape. And I heard, or I was, I don't know, given the guidance that there is Magdalene nodes and that there is dragon nodes. And at first I was like, okay, like, what are you telling me? I mean, yes, I get it. We're at a Magdalene site. Okay, this is obviously an important site that is connected to Mary Magdalene, but like, why the dragons? And I guess the dragons have been like always since the beginning of time, such a big guardian of life and creation itself, and thus also of the priestesses and the Magdalenes and the feminine consciousness per se. So it's not what we know about these myths or legends that we are told that the dragon is the perpetrator or like this monster that needs to be killed. Not at all. It's this loving creature that has just so immensely big energy that it might be perceived threatening by some, but ultimately they are the keepers of creation. And what is happening now is that we are stepping into this new timeline. We are stepping into this, some call it the new earth or the golden age, but it's basically coming back to a heart-centered way of living. So dropping from the mind into the heart, and that entails a lot. And we see that there is a lot in chaos. And so I was given the information, or it almost feels like an instruction, that what needs to happen is that we need to reconnect these dragon nodes that are on the planet with the Magdalene nodes, so that the ultimate blueprint of the template of the protector of the divine feminine, that this union is being reestablished.
Just taking a moment to allow the echoes of this vision to land. And as you were talking, I was also having this visual, as we were sitting, where we were sitting in the chapel, we were actually sitting under one of these,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know how they're called, but what looked like a node in a way. And it was a very, very potent power spot. And I don't know if you want to share about this, but it was beautiful how the nodes were, or the dots were also connected, as I had in my little case a certain book also that was talking about dragons and nodes and Magdalene points, and I feel like yeah, it was just such a, not that we need confirmations, but it was beautiful to witness you on this pilgrimage in a way of just these bubbles lighting up and connecting the dots and saying, yes, this is the next step, this is the next step, and allowing us also like to continue our journey and pilgrimage to up towards Paris and up towards Chartre. And I remember that morning or the next morning, you shared with me a dream that I feel really was a pivotal moment. Would you like to speak about it?
Yeah, of course, because it's like such an important centerpiece in a way. And so before I go into the dream, I also want to like bring up this this little guy, although he's not that little, uh, because I have been for a really, really long time. I have had the nudge to work with crystal skulls, but like not, let's say, the regular skulls, but dragon skulls. And I had been looking for one for a really long time, and it just didn't come to me. And then how this happens, like out of the blue, these things come to us, right? And so it's an amethyst. This one came to me, and it also has a little brother or sister, depending on what you want to call it. And I had it with me because it was very distinct and like taking it along, but I hadn't really worked with it so far. And it's just also for everybody who's listening or watching, like we receive these insights or these nudges, and at this moment we might not have an idea of why this needs to happen. And then I had it with me, and when I was given this information about the dragon nodes, it was pretty clear and obvious that this was the representative for the dragons. And so, as we were at a Magdalene site, I needed to bring the crystal, which is also a lot of the crystals, as probably many of you know, are keepers of consciousness, and they can be programmed and they can absorb information. And so yeah, this is my little helper now in reconnecting the dragon nodes and the Magdalene nodes. And it was just beautiful to see how the universe had orchestrated it, because that was something that did not come from me. Yeah, and then the dream, I mean, so that was then the morning when we were supposed to be going to Chartre, which I kind of like knew it was going to be a big day. And you know, when you have these sites where they are attached to a big expectation in a way, which is not always the best, honestly, but it's also hard because our like human excitement is very much present then. And with Vezelay, I didn't have that at all because I didn't know it. I just knew from you that it's beautiful, but I was like, I basically went open, and it just blew me away. It was really and I mean, you know it, the night that we were sitting when we came out of the church and the experience, it just felt like we really needed to like pull ourselves down and like dig ourselves into the ground, because we were so high up and the energy was just like buzzing.
Yeah,
And
that was I think for the two of us it was such a highlight moment. And I mean, the lights were beautiful, the sky was beautiful, the dragons, the pink dragons in the sky were just amazing. And it really felt, even though yeah, people don't know much about it, but it is also, which I paid attention to this time, it is also on the way of the Camino as well. So it is in a way linked to Chartre, right? It is one of the steps to arrive to Chartre. Yeah.
it is definitely. Yeah. And so yeah, the dream. So the night before we went to Chartres, I had this dream, and it was a very, very vivid dream. And you know, when you have these dreams where you're kind of like in it, but then you're zooming in and out, so you get to see the picture like from all angles in a way. And so I was like, in my head, I was still processing this whole thing with the Magdalene nodes and the dragon nodes, and how do I find the places? And like, oh my God, where do I need to go? And how do I do this? So the human in me got very excited, but at the same time also overwhelmed. And then in this dream, it was a huge green field, and there were, I don't know, hundreds, if not even thousands of women. And these women were all dancing like in various shapes and rhythms, and some were moving counterclockwise and others were moving clockwise. And from like being in this entire dance. It was beautiful, but it was also it looked a little bit chaotic in a way. So I couldn't really make sense of, okay, what's going on? Are we having a great party, or like, what is this? And and then it was as if I got lifted up, and being able to see from the bird's eye perspective. And it really just, I don't know if I've ever in a dream cried, but I literally felt like I had tears streaming down my face, because it was just so beautiful to see how these women were performing a very, very deliberately, intricately orchestrated dance, that in itself formed what I call the Magdalene Mandala. And it's, when you have these patterns that you see in India, or even sometimes on some of the Mayan temples, they are so intricately, and it's not just the lines, but what it actually is, it's energy moving, and it's frequency becoming alive. And this is what all of these women were doing. And within that, it was as if that particular spot that we were on all together was just activated immensely, and almost like everybody became an entire part of the earth, and that formed a new chakra point in a way for Magdalene consciousness to then just like stream through the bodies and be emanated, or travel into the world. And it really also felt like there was a new timeline that was opened through this. And I was shown by my guides that, like, this is the way, like, this, you wanted an answer on how this is being done, this is how it's being done. And I was like, okay, well, this is a lot of women. Like, how do I find them?
And
But
as we arrive to Chartres and we decide, I mean, we step into the cathedral, and I let you talk more if you wish about the outside later. But as we step in and we approach, and you decided to go in, help me,
the labyrinth.
in the labyrinth. And I was just the observer from outside. These women were there. I mean,
Yeah.
these women were there, and it was this beautiful dance as well. I mean, me witnessing it from the outside, it was this beautiful, energetic dance of women spiraling individually and collectively without speaking, just through the energetics. Yeah.
It's true. Yeah. Now that you remind me of that, it was definitely a part of it. And this is just something that we are always, like, always being consciously or unconsciously put in the situations where we are receiving. And so by broadening our perspective and being able to feel that and see that, we pick up these energetic threads in a way on what is there. I love that. Thank you for bringing that up.
No, it
And
was like, as you
again,
were telling your dream, I felt like, because you shared it with me, and then I was like, and I saw it. I saw it on the labyrinth in such a graceful and beautiful way, supported by, of course, the high vortex energy that is on this power spot. Yeah.
and that is the beauty, and also somehow the confirmation of when we put ourselves in this stream of consciousness, and we just trust that everything that we receive will make sense eventually, and that we are given like these breadcrumbs, and these situations and paths, even in 3D in the world, that everything is unfolding.
Yeah. So do you want to share a little bit more about what role Chartre play in this whole insight, in this whole vision? I know you talk more extensively about Chartre in another episode when you talk about the Camino, but yeah, would you like to share more specifically on this vision?
Yeah, I do. And also, you know, another piece of the dream was one sentence that I heard kind of like a mantra that was playing over and over was the term, it's wheels within wheels. And that was literally like women being and forming these concentric circles. And as I said, like some were going clockwise, some counterclockwise, others were like, you know, swaying back and forth, like the petals of a lotus opening and closing. And it's wheels within wheels. And then you wake up and you're like, okay, it's wheels within wheels, like whatever. And then I told you about the dream and about the dragons and the Magdalenes and the wheels within wheels. And then you show me this book. And I don't know if you can, yeah. And then you
Yeah.
show me this book that was just recently given to you when you were on your own pilgrimage in the south of France. And no joke, I mean, there's one chapter in here that is called Wheels Within Wheels. and, and and of course, this is my copy, because right away when you showed it to me, I was like, okay, like this is such a clear sign. I have to get it. And I'm happy also to put the link in the show notes. And I definitely also want to connect with the beautiful woman who wrote it, because yeah, it's just so much wisdom in there. And it also feels like it's a continuation. And this is another thing that I really feel that at the moment we, as the embodiments of the feminine consciousness, and not that the masculine is not doing that, but I feel that they are doing that in their own way. And like I'm speaking for me as being a woman, or for us, that we are really weaving these threads. And there is women that have come before, such as not just Mary Magdalene, but the Marys in a way, to be this watchtower of the society, which now the tower in a way needs to crumble and it needs to be rebuilt from truth and integrity. And we are here as the guardians alongside with the dragons to do this. Is it easy? No. We can only do it together. And this is the way. And so I feel very much that also her legacy is something, and she even says it in the end of the book, like if you want to continue that, like please go on. There is so much more to discover. And at least for my path, it really feels that I'm taking this in a way to understand more of my own mission and journey. And I guess that can be translated for everybody else, yeah, as well.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing about the tower. And I love how you put it together, like deconstructing the tower and rebuilding it from a place of truth. And if I may, this was also very present for me when I was in south of France, when I was on these lands where the Mary Magdalene and the Mary's consciousness is very present, was this piece of discernment, was this piece of many versions and many stories have been told and shared in my name, and now it's up to you. And when she says you, it's up to the collective to have this discernment, to reconnect with what feels true to us, and from a place of love and truth, and reconnecting with the story, or reconnecting the dots. And yeah, I would love to hear more from you on that aspect, on how do you feel, or what role do, if you can connect again, these Magdalene and Dragon nodes would play in the process of global or collective spiritual awakening.
Ooh, wow. Yeah, thank you for that question. still feel that I still feel I want to go back a little bit to your previous question about like Chartre, but maybe we like again can go from there as the center or as one center point. It's not the center point, but for me, it's definitely one center point because yeah, there is an earlier episode if you want to hop back that is called Ancient Pilgrimage Routes, where I speak a little bit more in detail about what especially the Camino is actually about. So previous times of what it was made then in Christian, in the Christian sense of pilgrimage. But what it was is part of a network of ancient Druidic oracle sites that were based on planetary wisdom. And so having had that, you know, that studied experience in a way, but then also now really connecting it with the embodiment of what is happening and how do the energetics feel, to me, it really feels like the center point in Europe, if we can call it, back at the days, for ancient Sophianic wisdom, and like Sophia being the emanation of the divine feminine as one of the polarities. And so it's very much like, even if you look at the labyrinth, it's this giant womb space, right? Where it's a womb tomb, which means that at the same time, it's a place of death, and moreover, it's a place of alchemy and rebirth. And so spiraling into the darkness as a symbolism of like spiraling into our own darkness, like what are the neglected parts of us, and all of that, again, like we can link it to the Magdalene wounds in a way, the witch wounds, being the outcast, being the whore, being shamed for everything. This is all what her or these avatars took, but it is always traits of ourselves. And so this is what we need to look at in order to be free, and in order to kind of like hit rock bottom, or what is the center point of the labyrinth, of the spiral, to be able then to spiral out again in freedom and integrity, and yeah, just coming from a place of love and acceptance for our own selves. And that is then what brings love and compassion to everybody that we engage with. And so I feel it's very much a place of creation for the sake of creation. And a lot of what is happening right now is that we think of like creation or freedom attached to violence, to power over, to control. Whether this is in your own life and on a very personal level, or whether this is, in the war zones that we are seeing right now. And so really coming from this place of understanding, like what does life mean? What is creation? And it is us as the women, like with the wombs, that we can create. And it is in the relinking, when we like go to these places and walking the labyrinth, it's crazy how I could feel the energy in my own womb space, like being stirred up, and like, woo, this is a huge cauldron. Like, what is happening here? And so, yeah, I mean, there's a lot, and I guess that I will also be doing another episode that is just on Chartre, because there's so much to discover there. But really, this being the center point, and everything that you can see from the outside, it's nice, but it's actually the underlying energetics and the frequency that you can access there that activates in your own cellular body, and you get to like understand with your entire being, oh, this is what it means. And then coming from a completely different, access point of reference, and also having a much broader spectrum of choice points in your own life.
Yeah, I feel the walk of the labyrinth is an initiation by itself, and it takes you in this depth, in these points of choices, in these points of revelations. It's yeah, it's just an unbelievable experience, and I'm looking forward for your episode on Chartre to talk more about it. Thank you for this. And I just wanted to come back to the Magdalene and Dragon nodes, and to hear more from you on how do they, or how do you see them relate to other sacred sites or other energy portals around the world, and are there any patterns or themes that emerge when considering their collective energetic landscape? And I feel this is like your whole podcast, right? Like it's connecting all these travel places.
Yeah, and it's funny because I did some journaling recently, and I was reminded that when I was a kid, I would always do, you know how you could have these pictures and it literally was dots that you had to connect, and then it formed whatever pattern, and then you could color it. And I used to do that by myself. Like I just took a sheet of paper and I just like put dots everywhere, and then I started drawing and I started connecting, and most of the time it was like weird or beautiful geometric shapes that it and really that was recently what I was like, oh, okay, I was like preparing myself to connecting the dots.
It would be
So
interesting to put these on parallel on a map, and
I don't think that I have them anymore, but definitely I was like, maybe I should start doing this again and then just
yeah,
do an overlay of some map.
yeah.
So it's funny, like a little reminder for everybody: don't underestimate what you really love to be doing as a kid. So and it feels also in a way vulnerable, because I feel that I'm just like stepping into this, and as I am also sharing this, I feel that I by no means like have it all together. It's still unfolding, it's still unraveling, and at the same time, as I said before, I feel that it really is time to call in the women who maybe have a similar path or call. And that's why I decided I want to speak about it, because I want to find the women as well to be doing this work together. And I also want to encourage everybody who is listening to this. And again, like, it's not just the women, it's everybody. If you feel the calling to be going somewhere or to be doing something, whether this is with crystals or working with water or any other element, or whatever your way of like earth work is, go for it, even if people think you are a little bit weird. Like,
Yes.
yeah. And so I think for me, what is really standing out when I see the connection of the two, again, it's like the activation of a new timeline, and it's coming into this divine union and restoring blueprints and energetic templates that have been laid out as a foundation for life, as a foundation for earth, but that have been distorted in many ways, whether by religion or whatever. But there, over the last couple of thousands of years, there has been a lot of distortion. And so it is our job in a way to accelerate these linking back so that we can come back to wholeness on a personal level, on a collective level, and then also like for how humanity wants to live on this planet for the next thousands of years.
Thank you for this beautiful vision. As you were talking, I was just feeling, like fragments of souls that we would be retrieving as we are traveling from one place to another. And you once said it in one of your podcasts, I think in the very beginning, it doesn't necessarily need, if you don't have the means to go travel on site, we can travel, of course, in our dreams, in our visions, and listening to podcasts like yours, and to sharing like yours, or into reading books. And it's such a beautiful coming back to wholeness. Yeah. Is there anything else you would like to share about Chartre or about this topic before my last question to you?
I think for the moment it feels complete. I mean, again, it is only fragments, it is only pieces of the puzzle. If you have a chance to visit this beautiful, amazing place in person, I would just highly, highly recommend it. It is really transformative.
Yeah, and thank you for being in your vulnerability as you talk about this at the very, very initiation of it. And I'm so looking forward of what, comes together. And I totally see you, journeying with people to Chartres, as I really feel how much this place is dear to you. And I really encourage everyone to listen again to the podcast of the Camino, because for me it was the highlight as well, like connecting all the dots. And as I have done, I was in Chartres, and then I went to Paris, and I was like, and I was listening to your podcast, and I was like, yes, I am on the Camino in a way. So just taking a moment to thank you for all the heart that you put in your offerings, really. And talking about offerings, with the Magdalene feast day approaching, I know that you have an offering coming up that calls forth female earth workers to work with these twin energies and nodes, and I'm looking forward to hear more about it.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. I'm excited. And again, it is something that I feel is very much evolving also with the people that are stepping into it. So it's not really me having something that is super ready presenting, because also I feel this is not the way that we are going to be doing this anymore. It's more like a team. There is this saying like teamwork makes the dream work. And so coming from my dream about the women dancing, yes, I am the one putting this together. I am the one facilitating it, but it is actually really coming alive through everybody who is willing and able to join. And so if you have a call to either the Magdalene or the dragons or both, and also connecting that to certain places on the planet, then yeah, join me. It's going to be a virtual gathering for this year. Maybe, who knows, maybe next year, yeah, we can we can gather at Chartres, but it's for now, it's logistically also easier. And so what is happening, it's entailing, it's actually an entire time span, because what I was shown and what I was told is also that this new timelines that we are creating are unfolding over time. And this is in alignment with certain nodes on the planet, but it's also in alignment with certain constellations of the planets, right? And so Mary Magdalene's feast day is on the 22nd of July. And then we have the Lionsgate with 8/8 portal. And then also we have the new moon in Virgo, which is basically the archetype of the high priestess. And these three form a line where we are stepping into this new timeline. And as we go along, we are opening up new timelines for this, creation for the sake of creation. So it's called the Magdalene and the Dragon, and we are going to be putting also the link in the show notes if this is something that you are feeling called to. It's very much stepping into this consciousness of the divine feminine with the linking of the guardians of Earth, of the divine feminine, of creation with the dragons, and then stepping and bringing that into service and devotion. That is the archetype of the high priestess.
I am super, super excited for this, and I love that it's undefined yet as it's undefined in the definition, however this looks like, calling in all the Marys, calling in all the dragons to come your way, and to bring to creation this amazing vision. So looking forward to that.
Thank you. Yeah, me too. It's the dream coming true. So if you listen to this and there is a frequency match, then please reach out to me, and let me know that you are out there. And thank you, Yana, for being this beautiful host and beautiful space holder for my story. And I am looking forward to finally interview you. I know we've said that a couple of times. It will happen eventually.
It happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you. It's always, I always feel so held in your presence. Thank you.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. It was a beautiful, beautiful exchange, and thank you for all your insights.
Okay, everybody, taking a deep breath as we are integrating all of this. And if you feel to call listening to this other episode on Chartre, it's called the Ancient Pilgrimage Routes. And thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.